Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, installing energy-efficient windows to help lower utility bills year-round. More at callmosby.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Yesterday afternoon, Planned Parenthood Great Rivers held a fundraising luncheon in Clayton. The National Federation's president and CEO, Alexis McGill Johnson, spoke there about the significance of Missouri voters passing Amendment 3, which enshrined access to abortion in the state constitution, and what it means for the movement for reproductive rights.
We are not without our electoral or political power. And when we have opportunity to show up at the ballot box and demonstrate state by state how it actually matters and why it is important to us, why it crosses party lines, it crosses gender lines, it crosses racial, demographic lines, and, geographic lines. Like, people, we are a majoritarian issue, and that freedom wins, and that's why it's so important.
McGill Johnson also talked with STLPR politics correspondent Jason Rosenbaum, who reported on the event. Jason, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So along with what we heard McGill Johnson say to the audience at the fundraising luncheon, what is it that she said to you?
She felt that Missouri was a real bright spot for the abortion rights movement in the past 6 months. Not only did Missourians pass Amendment 3 in 2024, but over the course of 2025, a court case in Jackson County has opened up abortion access in the state for the first time in many years. And while the progress of undoing a lot of the abortion restrictions that have been put in place over the decades has been somewhat slow, I think that McGill Johnson reflected on this milestone as a real win for the abortion rights movement throughout the country.
So we believe, right, that this president, told us who he was a long time ago with respect to advancing an anti-abortion agenda, and we should expect it. So I think the people who are skeptical have a right to be skeptical because of what we see around him and the kinds of conversations that we are hearing through the administration, including the attack on Planned Parenthood specifically. And we also know that they are afraid because they know that Planned Parenthood and abortion are both more popular than this administration. And so a full frontal attack is also going to be very challenging for them.
And what McGill Johnson was talking about there is that even though abortion rights activists should be very happy with what's going on in Missouri, they shouldn't be complacent given that there is a GOP-controlled government federally.
Mm-hmm. You also spoke with Margot Repagan, who's the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, and that serves the St. Louis region and southwest Missouri. What did she tell you, Jason, and did it differ in some remarkable way from what the National Federation had to say? Not
particularly, but similarly to how McGill Johnson said that abortion rights activists need to be vigilant about what's going on at a federal level, Repagan said that Missouri abortion rights activists have to be vigilant about what's going on at a state level because the GOP-controlled legislature is trying to put something on the ballot that would undo Amendment 3. And she told me this about why this isn't an unusual stance for abortion rights activists in the Show Me State.
This is not new to us. It is not new to Missouri. And folks have been in this fight for a long time and believe and know that they deserve access to health care, which includes abortion access in their own state, that no one should have to cross state lines in order to get the health care that they need, and that folks can continue to rely on us for that care, and we'll still be here in this fight, and we won't give up no matter what.
So Missouri voters approved Amendment 3 in November, and again, that enshrined abortion access in the state constitution, but implementation has been slow, and that's been a point of frustration for those who checked the yes box for reproductive rights last fall, and you asked her specifically about that. How does she respond to that question?
I think that she was basically saying that if you are a proponent of abortion rights in Missouri, you are aware that the environment for you is difficult. having a supermajority Republican legislature where not a single member supports abortion rights and a governor and attorney general who are strongly opposed to abortion rights means there's going to be pushback whenever there's an advancement in abortion access. But I think that both the local and national leaders of Planned Parenthood believe that abortion access is popular, that Amendment 3 showed its popularity even in areas where Trump ended up winning by a pretty large margin. And I think that gives them a little bit of not necessarily confidence, but at least the posture to defend Amendment 3 if there is a redo vote, most likely in 2026.
Mm-hmm. So as far as, politics of abortion, the politics of that, I mean, was that discussed from the stage and also addressed in some of the one-on-one conversations you were able to have?
Yes, because Missouri wasn't the only state that ended up supporting a ballot initiative to enshrine abortion rights in a constitution. There was a successful one in Montana. There was a successful one in Arizona. Both of those states went for Donald Trump, although Arizona certainly didn't go by as large of a margin as Missouri. I do think, though, that one of the things that abortion rights activists like McGill Johnson need to deal with is there is a reservoir of Republican voters who support abortion rights. We saw that in Missouri when Amendment 3 got more votes than Kamala Harris. But groups like Planned Parenthood are seen as Democratic groups. McGill Johnson spoke at the Democratic National Convention. And what she told me in response to whether her group is trying to reach out to Republican voters, because that may be the way to increase abortion access in other red states, like let's just say Tennessee or Arkansas, is that just providing the message that abortion access is not necessarily a stereotypical partisan issue, and that you can vote Republican but still support the right and access to abortion. I think that is something they're trying to convey. They're also trying to convey that abortion access through polling is increasingly popular among men. There was Pew Research data from 2024 showing 61% of respondents who were men support abortion in most or all instances. So I think they feel like the demographics and polling data are on their side. But I think that making sure the momentum continues will just require a really aggressive campaign to convince the public that they made the right decision, especially in Missouri.
So broadly speaking, Jason, what is the status of abortion access right now in Missouri?
So there are 3 clinics that are offering what are known as procedural abortions. So those are non-medicated abortions. So that's in Columbia, St. Louis, and Kansas City. Medication abortions are not available in any of those places because the state health department rejected what's known as a complication plan. That entire fight is now in court. And I don't know how that is going to shake out, but one of the things that officials with the St. Louis branch of Planned Parenthood have pointed out is there is abortion access across the river in Illinois that could provide medication abortion that's not super far away from the Central West End clinic. That is kind of cold comfort, though, for people who live close to Columbia, because the Columbia opening up abortion access, I think, is a really major deal because people around mid-Missouri no longer have to travel to St. Louis or Kansas City. And if they would have preferred medication abortion for whatever reason, they're still going to have to travel at this point.
Jason Rosenbaum is STLPR's politics correspondent. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
This episode was produced by Elaine Shaw. Audio engineering by our executive producer, Alex Hoyer.
This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.